I'm falling in love with you,
Should I should
baby.
I should I press the comments?
Yes. I'll put tester now. Test. So we're live, so people can start logging in, and then we'll get officially. Do you want the other light? I'll give you the other light. You want the other light?
You want to get that light?
Shut your mouth.
Down
Do you see the
for.
test? Do you see the test in the comments?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you gonna close this door?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna close everything. Just give me a second there.
I was just wondering.
Put this in the kitchen for me. Thank you. Oh shit! That's what I didn't want. Okay, let me put something else up here. I knew that was gonna happen. Maybe this would work. I knew that was gonna happen.
Boo.
I was like, I should be, you know. Go ahead, Mom. Ronnie on Coolio.
DJ Hams is in the building. Hey, Erica. Erica's in the building. Hey, Erica. Oh, there's echo again. Audio. Echo cancellation's on. What is? I think so. Check. Yeah, that's picking me up. That is picking me up.
Good morning, KK. Happy C-Day,
Good
cuz.
morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Am I
Yeah, that
She
hearing?
was
I'm
like,
not
looks
hearing you.
good, but
she was like, don't wish me a happy birthday.
you might have to
I'm
take
not
yours
hearing me.
at all. We can hear you. I can hear you.
Who am I talking to?
I was talking to you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you in person.
Yeah.
I can't hear you in the headphone.
Really?
That's what she said.
But I mean, I don't need the headphone if I'm
Mouth boy.
inside. I don't need the headphone if I'm inside.
Okay.
Where's Fred?
He's in the waiting room. He's gonna come in after we play his reel. Are you gonna take it inside?
Okay, because the comment is not here either. I can't.
Did you hit comment?
Oh, comments is at the bottom. Chat is at the bottom. Bye, cheese.
Almost there.
Hey, it's Rick Ross' birthday too. Yesterday, I think. And your boy, Rakim.
Yeah, we celebrated his birthday yesterday on Throwback Thursday.
I'm better than you.
I mean,
So
it's also Oprah's birthday today also.
It's pouring over here.
Can you hear it now?
See the rain?
Oh, look at that. It stopped over here already.
Really? Yeah, it's still throwing down in here. Can you hear us?
Oh no, this happened all. Hey.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
She can't do it outside. I like that shirt. Who is that on? That's your man on your shirt?
That's
Hot
the
lunch.
hot lunch
They pick
shirt.
me up.
That's dope.
Available on DJUnique.com.
See the dog. Hey Chris, happy
Are you gonna
belated
go in?
birthday to you, Chris.
Are you gonna go in
Do I
now
have to go
because we
in?
need to get the show started?
You can get it. No, okay. I'm in.
Hold on. That's what we'll do.
You're
Let's
gonna
run the
stay
intro.
outside 'cause
Here we go.
it's a mess. Good morning, child. That room.
Yeah, that was cool.
Lighting
It
is
is
not
the
good
Unique
in-
Cheese Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. In this brand new format of how we're doing it. Absolutely amazing that you guys are here with us on this beautiful morning. What was super choppy, Erica? Was the intro playing super choppy?
Yeah, it was.
Ah, man. See, what's bad about that is it plays smooth on my end. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm automatically assuming that it's playing really good on everybody else's end too. You know what I'm saying? So that's very, very, it's confusing when people say that. Anyway, good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. DJ Unique here. Mr. Cheese, KK, you guys want to say your good mornings?
Good morning.
Good morning,
KK?
everybody. I hope everybody's been
Yeah.
safe. Thank you for joining us.
Big shout out. It is KK's birthday today. Ring the alarms. Ring the alarms. Make some noise. Clap your hands.
Happy
Put some
C-Day.
hearts in the comments.
Happy
Can you believe? Can you believe Oprah Winfrey has the nerve? She has the nerve to have the same birthday as KK. What was she thinking?
I'm sure because she was born before myself.
Yeah, no, she's
She's
hella
like,
old.
I don't care
Uh,
at all.
maybe. Anyway, so go ahead, Keith.
Oh, did you see that game with Philadelphia when LeBron pushed the guy because he didn't want to get dunked on and then complained and he hurt himself bad?
No, I didn't see that.
I was like, come on, dude. He should have been. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just thinking. Go ahead.
LeBron James pushed the guy?
Yeah, that's unlike him too. But he didn't want to get yammed on, and I don't think he intentionally hurt him. But he knows he's a professional. He knows when someone jumps in the air to dunk, you don't go like this. You don't push them like that in their stomach. And it was bad. You got to look that up.
Oh, that sucks. We will. I'll look that up. But man, that's terrible. Why would he do that? Come on, LeBron. I expect more out of him than that. Anyway, so how's everybody feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. Also, we got a special guest that's going to be joining us today. So I wanted to
Say
get
what
you
you
guys
said. Say what you
said. I wanted to get you guys' good mornings before we bring in Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowPictures.tv. I've been friends with Fred for going on about 10 years now, I think so. Fred directed my first music video, my hot lunch video. So that was amazing, and I'm very appreciative that he did that. And we just stayed in contact throughout these years. Very, very, very intelligent brother, and I'm glad he gets to spend his time with us this morning. So I'm going to play one of his trailers now for a project that he's working on, and then we're going to bring Mr. Fred in. So, okay, hopefully this one plays louder than the other one. Here we go.
The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity.
Testing. Test. I don't have the liberty to play this game that I'm supposed to be afraid. I'm not allowed to be afraid.
We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years.
Is there sound?
Yes, it's just cutting.
We have no idea what it means to survive. To feel a threat. Why is it important in life to not be afraid?
You don't get too much accomplished when you are afraid as you do when you're brave and strong and confident that things can be changed.
The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind.
I don't want to die, I want to live. And I want to help other people live.
We will no longer be the stupid people that get taken care of so badly by our politicians because they don't know what they're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. Welcome in Mr. Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowFighters.tv.
Yay, welcome.
So glad you can join us this morning. We're going to fix up that video screen because I don't know why it's choppy. That's very unfortunate, and it's very stupid because I don't like when technology says that this is what the technology does and it doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
it's zeros and numbers. All you're supposed to do is your zeros and numbers thing. But you know, that's neither here nor there. But good morning to you, Mr. Fredrick Taylor. Or good afternoon, all the way up in the ATL. How are you doing this morning, Cerebrecon Forever?
I'm surviving. I'm here. I'm in one piece.
I like at the end of the video when you said, I don't want to die, I want to live. And I want to help others live. That's very surface level of how I heard it, but is there a deeper meaning behind that? How did you come to that conclusion of, I don't want to die, I want to live, and I want to help others live?
During the pandemic, we've all picked up some interesting habits or rediscovered things or trying to kill time. And one of the things that I started exploring was slave narratives and African Americans who did astonishing things, not in the 20th century, but in the 19th century, specifically Harriet Tubman. And that was one of her basic mantras for herself was she wanted to live and be her best self, and she wanted to help others live to be their best selves. So hence she kept running back and forth through the Underground Railroad, you know, ushering slaves to freedom. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do here.
Trying to usher people into freedom. Now, do you think a lot of the times when Harriet was helping them people and her narcolepsy set in and she passed out real quick and they wasn't to the promised land yet, you think them slaves were scared? Like, hey, wake her up. Like, while she's sleeping, they need to wake her up. Like, why she go knock out for?
Well, absolutely, because unfortunately, many of us live in fear and don't have enough self-autonomy to be sustainable, and we depend on others to keep our boat afloat, for lack of a better term. And there are a lot of people that are comfortable with that. I mean, you've lived long enough to know there are people that are just hanging around you, hanging on to you. They're not doing anything. They're waiting for you to blow up so you can pay their bills.
Hey, he talking about me. No, I'm just
like, wait a minute.
The mirror in my face.
So, Fredrick, for those that don't know who you are, if you want to give like a brief summary or a quick bio, who is Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowPictures.tv?
Fredrick Taylor is a global creative director. I make content. I make decisions on story, and do I want to tell positively charged stories, negatively charged stories, or also neutrally charged stories? I believe that you can make the positively charged story, and it can be an aggregate for a significant dollar value equal to or greater than the negative and the neutrally charged stories.
You think you can get paid making positive stuff?
I do. I honestly really, really believe that. But the thing about it is that it's an elite number of people that can do it. You're in the Basquiat, Picasso level of artistry, the Miles Davis level of artistry. It clears out all of these phony rappers, as we used to like to say growing up, as well. And that's fascinating. There's this Asian artist. Her name she's still alive, Mariko Mori. She's got to be in her 50s now. She's Japanese. I mean, I literally have been in love with this woman my entire adult life. I would quake in my shoes if I was standing there in front of her. But she's been creating art for 30 years in this space of, positively charged art, pop art, global art, West meets East, an egalitarian perspective when it comes to womanhood, empowerment, diversity. And in the beginning, everybody thought she was crazy. She's just a loon. I thought she was cool.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, and so there's so much art and talent in the world that is undiscovered that actually can create compelling story for people. We've just gotten addicted to the crack end of the spectrum of content making.
Yeah.
Exactly. We take the cheap hit all the time, and we just keep coming back for the cheap hit over and over and over and over and over and over again. And
but the double-edged sword, though, to making the positive thing, though, kind of is the money. Yeah, there's lots of money in making positive stuff, but you don't get it till you dead. You know what I'm saying? All of the Basquiat people were naming, all their money came after they died.
Well, because they think about when they came along, Basquiat got buried alive in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. I mean, that was the gestation period of the great, as Sid Vicious used to say, the great rock and roll swindle. Sid Vicious was in the Sex Pistols in the mid 70s, and he was the first person that kind of jumped up and said, "Hey, this is all BS. What are we doing here? Everybody's just hustling everybody. None of this is real, and everybody's just trying to aggregate a dollar." And then of course he dies of a heroin overdose, and he's gone, and no one pays attention to what he's saying. But that's what this is. It's been our whole lives have been a swindle.
Yeah,
like literally the past 50 years, you could erase. And if we did that, none of us would exist. There was article after article in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes magazine that's saying like Reagan's trickle-down economics never worked. Giving tax cuts to the rich 50 years ago didn't do anything for anybody. Dude, I wrote that paper in high school. I wrote that paper in high school that said that trickle-down economics will not affect the lower classes and lift or raise them up, and that people who have money inherently want to keep it. And they want to keep other people out. And the only way you can get in is if you conform to their particular paradigm. Because they believe money is truth to people. If you have money, they believe it to be true. That is why so many people were following the previous administration that just left town 20 minutes ago, is because they believed that they had money.
Mm-hmm.
What history will reveal, and what the next several months or the next year is going to reveal, they ain't had no money.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do They couldn't do anything, and they weren't doing anything. You know, it was all just a lot of talk. You know, it was a lot of, you know, bad boy versus death row.
Word.
You know, in the
Word.
end, we got caught up in something that now neither one of those entities barely exists or has any real impact in culture. And they should be having an impact in culture now. Those should be revered companies that are leading the way for us to get to a better tomorrow. They should have digital platforms. There should be
Word.
bad boy digital. But there's not.
What's super unfortunate about that is that Bad Boy and Death Row, it seemed like they were versus, but Puffy and Suge Knight were friends. You know what I'm saying? Like
what they were are essentially are Trumpian type characters in this passion play. They made all the money. They were the ones getting over. And then there were these legions of followers who didn't get anything in the end.
Not a thing.
Not a thing. Exactly.
Not a thing.
And if you go back another generation, you go back to Berry Gordy let Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, you know, everybody walk out that door until the only two people he had left, he had DeBarge and Rick James. You know, everybody else left. Everybody else left.
It was like, yep. He couldn't keep him with heroin and crack no more. So if he wasn't doing heroin or crack, you left.
But imagine that Monday morning meeting in the early 80s. He comes in on Monday morning and it's El DeBarge and Rick James in the meeting, and that's it. There's no one else working at the label of any level of merit.
Word.
That's insane. That's insane.
Why did he let everyone go?
Because he wanted to keep all the money. Because what was happening was these artists were developing to the point where they wanted to start their own labels. And he didn't want to break them off. He didn't want to say, hey, I'm gonna bankroll you. You're going to give me 30% of your company, and I'm going to pay for everything up front to keep you going and keep you here and to keep you under this umbrella of Motown. He didn't want to make the studio system.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Exactly. And that killed us, because then he would have started his own television network in the 80s, and he would have a digital platform now. He would have owned Oprah. He would have owned Bad Boy Records and Death Row, all this stuff. He would have been the greatest entertainment mogul, hands down, of all time, beyond anybody. He would have exceeded, you know, Jack Warner, Cecil B. DeMille, all these other people. He took the money. He took the money and walked.
Could you imagine if MJ had his own label, the MJJ label? Man,
and he had it. He had
this label in the world.
Exactly. And he needed to give it to him in the 70s. He should have given it to in the mid 70s. He should have given the Jacksons their own label. You know,
they would have murdered him.
Well, I'm saying, but then he missed out on the biggest payday ever of all time, and that's Thriller, because of his BS. You know, he was going down as Michael was going up. You know, so Michael stopped taking his calls in 81, 82.
Word.
You know, Barry's on the phone. Michael's like, so what?
Right. That's unfortunate.
For Barry, it's unfortunate for Barry.
For Barry, yeah.
You know,
I mean, he's rich though. That's like
he is. He lives in Newport. He lives in Newport Beach. We can go down there and, you know, stand on his front lawn and ask him, will he do an interview?
I mean, like, his book is actually pretty good. I think it's called "Will You Sing to Me" or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think he's one of the greatest entertainment businessmen of all time. I'm just saying that he had a shot at being one of the greatest moguls, and that was a big swing and a miss. Word. You know, he's not Jordan. He's Scottie Pippen.
True that. Wow.
Which is, that'll get you into the Hall of Fame. I mean, you're still one of the 50 greatest players of all time. You're just not the greatest player of all time. We still don't have the mantle in the ethnic community of the greatest player of all time. And I believe the greatest player of all time in the entertainment business is probably going to come out of Korea.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like
why do you think that?
Well, because one, they've got a lot of tailwind now moving forward in the entertainment business. And if they leverage the movement that they're on right now in the right way, you know, with expanding the music into other genres and expanding the sensibility about the creative art form into film and television, and then they just start swallowing people up, That's money. I mean, if somebody called you tomorrow from South Korea and said, "I've got a deal for you, Unique, you know, and I'm going to give you $1 million up front as a signing bonus," you're gone, man. You're going to say, "We're all moving to Seoul, Korea. I got a job. I can do whatever I want to do, whatever." And, you know, once they figure that out,
bye.
once they figure out how to buy into these markets and come up with equitable splits for people, you'll sell, you know, you got 100 shares of Club Bullies. You'll sell 20% of those shares to me if I give you a significant amount of money. There's a dollar value out there. You know, whatever that is. You know,
I got to remember the name of the labels. So, KK, you might know the name of these labels. The one that has BTS on it, are they like Big Machine or something like that? Like, what's the name of that label? Hold on.
She's muted.
You got to unmute your mic.
Yeah,
I believe it's Big Hits.
Big Hits. So Big Hits, and what's the first rapper guy that had the first label that had YG, the guy YG. What is the name of his label?
I don't know.
YG?
Not YG. Sorry, that's the rapper.
That's the rapper,
California. But what is the other label that had Rain on it?
The JY. There's JYP.
JYP. Okay, so you said Big 10 or big what is it? Big what?
Big Hit.
Big Hits. Big Hits just invested in YP's label also. So right. I thought about that once Fred said that, you know, they're investing in each other's companies. So yeah, so they just bought a whole bunch of shares of the YP guys company too. Right. So what Fred's saying is absolutely true. So it should have been, you know, Death Row invested in Bad Boy invested in Death Row, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like just keeping that money going around and around. So I can see Korea making a big gigantic mark on the market if this is the business savvy that they're doing. It's like cha-ching, get the money.
Yeah. But I don't think definitely us as black people, we don't think like that for the long term. Like what your man was saying, like it seems like it should have been like, well, we should put our heads together and unite like a transformer or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But if somebody wants to be number one, then you're not going to be
and they too busy fighting each other. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do definitely want to chime in with Freddie because, you know, I watch Korean variety shows. I hear how these label owners talk, and they do definitely. Rain came up under JYP. Now he's a label owner himself. Now they're making music together, producing together. They're on air together. They are working together, supporting each other for the world. They're supporting BTS like crazy. They use that as a step to improve from.
Right.
They would never pull each other down. I mean, they might do it behind closed doors, but in front of public, they would always stick together. And I see BTS have their live shows. They have their YouTube channels that they were recently on with another Beckfather that I watched, the Korean chef. They're promoting a new, because, you know, the farming, agriculture, COVID-19 has brought, you know, so many people's lives, changed it. So in Korea, even in the farming community, these celebrities are getting together so that their agriculture, their harvestings can actually be sold. They're promoting each other up. Wherever there is an area that is lacking, they go there to say, hey, how can I help you? What can we do so that you don't get, so we can all, you know, at least stay above water.
Melanated people take notes.
That.
Oh, y'all need to take some notes, melanated people. That is such a beautiful thing that they doing over there.
That's how we should be, man.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, for sure.
If people get rid of their famine type of mentality, then we can all start feasting.
So I know I am the Asian person in this group right now that we're talking, but do you guys recognize that you guys tend to say like we should do that? There's always like in the future form, not like what are we doing right now? Why are we not doing that instead of saying we should do that?
Well, what we're speaking on the people that are at a particular level, but there are people who are doing it. I would have to say that I work with Fred. We have projects that we're doing right now that we're working together. when you see stuff like a lot of the stuff that Jay-Z's doing. Jay-Z is very, very impressionable. Even things that Nas are doing now too. Like there are a lot of people who are in this modern day coming together and working together.
Right.
But maybe not on the on a grander scale that we would like to see. You know what I'm saying? We'd like to see more. But yes, it is happening. But I not enough. There's not enough. You know what I'm saying? No. Tyler Perry and Spike Lee should be buddies. You know what I'm saying? They should have brought companies together and did something. You know what I'm saying? They're at such a high level. And you don't need to work by yourself. I just don't think you should.
Because here's what's going to happen. It's like if what KK is saying can actually materialize and gestate, you will eviscerate these, Tyler Perry's and Spike Lee's or whatever, because the industry is fickle. They don't care who's making it. They just want to know who's making the money. And if you start to give some of these fractured entities in the business that are African-American a run for their money, you'll blow their doors off and they'll be never heard from again. And, they'll be hanging out with El DeBarge. They'll have nothing. And the biggest key, KK, in a lot of this too, for Black people is that their willingness to leave the ones that don't want to keep up behind. We can't keep dragging along people that don't want to pull their own weight. To get back to the Harriet Tubman thing, one of the things when you had said, oh, Harriet, what did she do when they all got scared when she took a nap? She would tell them, if you don't keep moving forward, because you're not going back. We're not going back to the plantation. You're going to freedom. And if they quit on her, she would say, you either come with us or I'm going to shoot you in the head and kill you right here. And so that's another construct that has to really be implemented, because if we're moving forward, and then UnieQ's got cold feet and he's like, I don't know about this. I feel really uncomfortable. I want to go back to the way it was. I like the other way. And then KK, we're going to turn around and we're going to kill him. And we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving forward. We're not going to.
As you should. We should bring that mentality back. Right. If you don't want to grow, you got to go.
But sometimes you need to put your foot down.
You do, and
you need to put your foot down and make things happen.
Exactly, and then we're speaking in a metaphorical sense, But you've got to take a pass on people. The hardest thing that I do is when I take a pass on my own people, and then I've had to put other cultures out the door too. I mean, there are lazy people from every single culture, Yeah, and it's hard to put a person of color out, but I have to do it because I have to survive, because I can't afford to be dragged to the bottom of the ocean by someone else's lack of lack of initiative, inability to be accountable, to have vision, to see things in a bigger picture into the future. There's a whole K-pop thing going on now in Nashville. There's a whole J-pop country scene in Nashville. There's stuff that's popping and happening that you got to decide. You're going to get on board, be a part of this, or are you just going to stand on the sidelines and think like someone's going to hire you and overpay you to do nothing?
Word.
And after COVID, there are no jobs like that. That's one of the best things about COVID, is that all the losers got cleaned out. Because there's nothing really, really popping, that's amazing right now, that's really moving us forward. We're still figuring all of this out. It's going to happen again, but it's going to take a minute. And I think a lot of that, ironically, is going to come from the East, and specifically Asia, and with some infusion of Africa as well. There's more people, there's more content, there's more artistry, and they're not contaminated by all of this Western idea of, I want to fit in, I want to get in, I want to hang out with the Kardashians and all the other BS that we are constantly inundated with. This is a great opportunity, if we want to seize it and do something about it. And, I realize that many of us, we've lived a significant amount of time already, and we feel like, oh my God, I'm an old person now. But this is the greatest era for old people ever in the history of mankind. You know what I mean? Like, old people now, like, you can really pull it and do it all.
What's your definition of old? Hold on now. What's old?
Well, you actually referred to yourself as old the other day.
Oh, I am old. I like my old. What's your definition of old?
You're not really old. That's just
I'm functional.
Well, then you're not old. That's the point. old.
I know. That's what I'm saying. What's your definition of
Some
old?
of them, there is none. And you know who blew it out of the water for me? Asians. You know,
Right.
I used to live in South Pasadena, and I would go to this gym in the mornings, and it would be flooded with older Asian people that were like swimming, Tai Chi and swimming, all sorts of stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, you know. But you can't get it. You can't get a bunch of black people to get up early enough in the morning to go swimming or do Tai Chi. You know, they'd rather like. You could, but it's a problem. It's a problem.
It's a process. You gotta find them. You gotta find those 8 black people that want to get up in the morning.
Yeah, they're so like all of my mentors that are older than me that are still very active are Asian men.
Wow. Word.
They're Asian. They're Asian men. You know, my mentors that are older, that are black, they're packing it in. Like, oh, I'm old. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, I got to take my pills, and I don't want to exercise. And all. They're in a whole different thing.
Word.
You know, and Asian men are always like, to me, get up off your ass, do something, move, be fluid, be active. You know. Those things are very real. You know, for me, I've reached a point where I'm becoming less Western, and I'm evolving into being something that's more Eastern.
To the east, my brother. To the east. Quick backtrack to Harriet Tubman. They're reopening their plan to put her on the $20 bill. I'd like to get you guys' thoughts on that. Do you think it's going to happen this time? What is the significance of that happening? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Cheese, what do you think about them putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill? And do you think it's going to come through this time?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think it's a good thing. I don't think nothing negative about that. I think that's something positive. Have some person of color on some money.
Mm-hmm. All right, that was short, KK.
To me, I feel like, in my opinion, I think it would just be a waste of money and just a waste of time. I mean, it already exists. You got to change the whole thing around. I get that it would have a black female. It would be a change and empowerment to the black community. But will it really? Or is it just saying, hey, we got this, and then everything goes back to where it was? Will this change anything other than the face on a $20 bill?
I would hope so. Even if it's just subconsciously, I would hope it would change, because here you're putting someone who fought to free slavery, and you're taking off somebody who was actually a brutal slave owner. You know what I'm saying? So, and to have slave owners as your money, that is one of those post-traumatic slave things that even if you don't think about it on the surface level, it's still in the DNA of a lot of people that went through a lot of evil. And to have somebody on your money, that's a constant reminder of your position, especially in this country. So you would hope that happens.
I guess that would be the case if you actually paid attention. I guess that would be if you actually paid attention to your bills and you knew what was on a dollar bill, $5, 10, 20, 100. Do you? I personally don't. And all I know is I know Hamilton because that's what's currently being discussed. I know the Benjamin, but I really personally don't pay attention to the
I love your honesty.
Bill. So
I love it.
I mean, this is going deeper than the surface. Like, how much money is it going to cost the people to change all that around? How much more damage will it be? Would it be more greater, or will it be more of a cost to say this change is going to happen?
It's greater because, like, India just chimed in. She said many of my Native American family and friends don't use that currency because Andrew Jackson is on it. He's known for killing slaves, and he's also known for the genocide of a lot of Native American people. Like, he did some dirt. And this country loves to praise these people. Be like, that's one of our forefathers. He's a hero. But when you get to what these heroes were doing, they were awful, awful people to the general masses. Now, to a selective few, they might still be heroes, but I mean, he's nasty.
Right. Nasty. Yeah. He was also the creepy uncle to the Jackson family back in the day as well. So he was kicked out of the family when Andrew Jackson.
But I guess my thing is, who really pays attention to this part of history when education. There's no education behind the change.
I think that I think KK has a very, very, very valid point, and I also think Cheese has a valid point, and Quay has a valid point. The answer is kind of all of the above, because I do agree with KK. There are bigger fish to fry. There are more important things to do and to get done. But we are a country of symbolism, you know, and ritual, and this is one of those things that, unfortunately, we obsess about, you know, that really reflects on the fact that, wow, we really were slaves. They had slave owners on and it's kind of a tit for tat thing where a lot of Black people want this to happen because it sends a message to white people. And then white people are like, okay, we'll give you that, but then we're not going to have health care. You can have Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, but we're not going to have health care. So,
welcome to America.
Exactly. I mean, that's so.
Exactly. What's the cost?
And that's the cost, KK, is that there's some other particular piece of legislation that we should be focusing on that's more important that won't happen because we're just going to get Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. And it shouldn't have even happened in the first place. You know, the construct of, you know, so it's this constant uphill battle. And as long as America keeps people of color, specifically Black people, going uphill, it's going to suppress and keep all the rest of these diverse people down as well. Because where Blacks go, everybody that is of color or everyone that is seeking suffrage goes. So you just keep knocking Black people sideways. That means that, okay, then you don't have to deal with this growing Asian population. You don't have to deal with this immigration issue. You don't have to deal with LGBTQ. You know, as long as you keep Black people sideways. But what really matters is that if Black people say something like, you know, we're going to boycott the Super Bowl. Do you know what I mean? If they all walked out right before the game and took off their uniforms and got to their knees in solidarity and said, we're not playing today, to make a statement to America and the world that we are tired of being treated this way.
Right.
That'll change the world. That'd be the biggest news. That would be one of the biggest news stories in the past 100 years. Literally, if Blacks didn't play the Super Bowl.
But we need Black men to understand that and say, hey, this check is not worth my people.
But they've abandoned us in a way. You know, that's why we have the rise of Black women. Black men are like, I can get paid. I can be the anchor point in these multi-billion-dollar industries. I get everything that I want, and they're satisfied. There are so many Black men that are falsely satisfied right now in our society. And they've created a discourse that's very negative for them that they may not necessarily rebound from. I was making a joke the other day to a few Black friends of mine who are producers in the film business. And I said, how does it feel that like every film deal goes to a Black woman now? They're upset. They're actually mad. They're like, man, I've been in this business 20 years and these Black women are falling out of the sky and they're getting film deals. You know, because the perception of them is different, that they're not selling out. And the Black men have really put themselves in a position of, we play sports and that's kind of it. And that's our deal. And everybody's cool with it. But until they change that dynamic, but KK, you're right. It doesn't really change anything. It's just a symbol of something that will end up on a t-shirt. Which it'll be a pretty cool t-shirt though.
It will be a pretty cool t-shirt. I would rock a Harry Tubman on a 20 shirt.
Exactly. Everybody will be using, and they'll probably make money off of it. It'll like reinvigorate the $20 bill. Everybody Black will have it. And ironically, George Floyd was killed over a $20 bill.
Right.
You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
I think that's what happened. Like he went there with the Harry Tubman thing already before it came out. Say what?
So I'm thinking, why have my comment over you three Black males? I wonder if this is my opinion because I am an Asian female who really didn't have that history that you guys have had, that you guys feel, that you guys have gone through. I wonder if this was something of a Asian issue. Would I have some deeper? I don't think so, in my opinion, because you look at the whole picture, the grand deal, and you're going to weigh, is it just because this change happens, is it going to be like this, or is it going to still be here, or is it going to do that? It's still going to be here. Nah, I'm not really into it. If it's going to go up a little and higher the standards, that's where I would be working towards. But why are we fighting for this and why are we fighting for that?
Right. No, I think that you're right. And I think, KK, yours is the complete and total correct answer in all of this, because you're coming at this from a third party objective viewpoint of Black people and Black males. You've logged a lot of mileage in this world, in this particular part of the universe. You understand it. You get it. The opposite world of that is that I get asked a lot to speak at Asian conferences about cultural identity. Like, I get in the rooms packed with Asians and talk about what it means to stand up for yourself in the face of racism and the apartheid type state that we live in. How do you unpack it when somebody white disrespects you? How do you navigate in a white world and you want upward mobility and still maintain your cultural sensibility and people not think that you're weak? Like, I mean, it's crazy. So I've understood the significance that I have as a Black man speaking to young Asian kids at a cultural conference, and you're having the same effect coming back in the other direction of you can get in a room full of Black guys that go, hey, wait a minute, slow your roll. Do you really think that the $20 bill is going to change anything? You'll still get stomped out by the cops in the streets with a clutching a Harriet Tubman $20 bill. Nothing's really changed all that much. No, I think that I think that we can all help each other. I think that's ultimately the answer in a lot of this, is that we need your perspective, you need ours, and then we even need other people. Latinos and Indians, and everybody's got something to contribute to this diaspora or discourse of Asiatic people.
That's
I think
a perfect segue.
Right.
Perfect segue. I'm glad you said that. Because a question that I have is, and something I've been thinking about, when people say, I don't see color, I don't see color. In a sense, I would like to get to a space where I can also say, I don't see color. I see culture. I see traditions. I see, you know what I'm saying, the individual people for who they possibly are. But when we stop thinking about, oh, it's Black people, oh, it's white people, oh, it's Asian people, oh, it's this, it's that, and we just started thinking about, I'm trying to even think of where to take it, because the mind always wants to compartmentalize everything. And did I say that right?
Compartmentalize.
Yeah. Mind always wants to compartmentalize everything. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing that with people, and we're putting them in boxes like, oh, that guy is a Black guy, so Black guys do this. Oh, that is a white girl, so white girls do this. But the picture has got to be bigger than that, because as long as everybody's stuck in these boxes, then the boxes are going to keep fighting each other.
Sure.
When everybody looks inside the box, we're like, oh, damn, y'all do that too. Oh, y'all do that too. Oh, y'all eat that too. Y'all go there too. You listen to that too. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see color. I want to see culture. I want to see experiences. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm not talking to a white girl. I'm talking to somebody from, I don't know, Switzerland. Tell me what it's like growing up in Switzerland. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about what it's like.
But she's looking at you going like, ooh, he's a Black guy. Ooh. But
even that though, don't you just say, oh, he's a
yeah. I mean, come on, like, okay, right. And KK, you may want to just take over the conversation at this point. There is a perception that people have about Black men that is very sexually charged. If you're a Black man, you're good looking, you walk in the room, people are thinking something about you that's very sexual beyond what you can offer on any other level. That's one of the frustrating parts about this, is that the world that you're asking for, Quay, that's got to be a two-way street. If they're not playing the same game as you, you're not going to get anywhere. You can sit there all you want and see someone as they are, but if they're not seeing you as you are, you're talking to the wrong person. And the point is that the way that we think in this higher thinking world, and KK can really speak to this, there's a limited number of people you can actually communicate with, that actually will get it, that will meet you halfway, it will be symbiotic. One of the interesting things about KK is she's one of the most outspoken people I've ever met, and one of the most quietest people I've ever met, all at the same time. Which is crazy, because she's very judicious about her time, and she's very judicious about who she really communicates with. versus people that she keeps at the peripheral or at arm's length or whatever. And she understands, okay, that person's not anything that I need to bother with.
Word.
You know, so because I do know this much. Anybody that ever said to me, I don't see color, was usually someone trying to get in my pants.
Wow.
That's the opening line of a slutty girl at a club.
Wow.
Like, seriously, like, you know.
Mine is, can you teach me how to DJ?
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's number 2. So what's it for you, Cheese? What's the opening line for you with when women come up to you? What do they say?
They don't say nothing.
you get hit on. You get hit on.
No,
sometimes.
I don't.
Or you have in the past. You have in the past. You've been hit on. So what's said to you when you get hit on by somebody of an ethnic background?
I can tell you when Dwayne hit it on me. He was like, I like your shoes. I mean, it's true.
He almost got you too.
Man,
he almost got you.
I mean,
that's unfortunate.
But
For any brothers in the comments right now, DJ Dre is still in the building. What are some of the things that that has been said to you? What has been said to you as an African American man that you were like, are you trying to holler at me? Like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what you know what I mean? They're not saying like, oh, you're really interesting. You're a fabulous person. Or I really appreciate what you just said. Or that's very intelligent or whatever. They're not thinking that.
We're just walking around looking like titties or something.
Pretty much. Because in my estimation, the black man
I feel like
is
a lot of the time.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of the times when these things happen, especially when they're just coming at you, you're being tested for the stereotypical things that are being said and done of the history and how wild. Yes, for me, I've been in relationship with African American males, clearly. But there is nobody else in this world like Black males. And I grew up around Asian males. I grew up in a white neighborhood with a bunch of white people. There's few Black people, a bunch of Asians, Mexicans neighborhood. There is nothing like Black male. Yes, especially when they have the look. They have the certain amount of physical, aspect of it, and they're more confident. They come out more confident, but I've also realized that a lot of that confidence is BS because there's nothing behind that confidence a lot of times, which is really, really sad. But I mean, I want to believe, I know there's so much potential and they refuse to use their potential to their fullest. They just want to get away with the minimum they give. I don't know. That is my experience of Black men. I mean, the most loveliest thing in the world, in my opinion. This is what I'm clearly attracted to, and that is what I have procreated with. I have my children. It's lovely, but at the same time, I don't know who told these men that there are limits. You can only go this far. This is where you stop. You go this far. This is where you stop. They don't know to just let themselves go. Where that pride comes from that says, no, I don't do that. No. And, here I see a bunch of Asian people who are rich, who are doing really well in their raggedy clothes, working Saturday morning, digging up ditches or cleaning up things that you could pay other people to do. But yeah, that's how they grow, because even when they continue to work, they continue to add to their assets. They continue to, take away their deficits by keep working. But if you have $100, there's a Nike shoe sale for $99. Here they are buying the shoes instead of there's a bill for $99 for a phone bill that didn't get paid. I don't understand it. Just on my personal experiences I've come across.
No,
DJ Dre said
have the greatest potential,
yeah,
but not necessarily the hardest working.
I'll take it to the comments real quick. DJ Dre said that Fredrick and KK are right. There is a subtle sexual charge around Black men. And then DJ Chaos Jones chimed in and said, is it that it's just been placed on us because Black men and women have for centuries been hypersexualized? So is it a natural thing for this attraction, or has this been put in the into the atmosphere that these people are sexual beings?
It's,
you know what I'm saying? Because there's like the black man myth of the big penis thing. Yeah. So it's natural and unnatural. Okay.
Yeah, it is built into the culture. I mean, it's a social convention. You know, we are programmed that way. We're taught that. You can see how, you know, people of color are portrayed in media. I would put Asian women into this category as well. They're very sexualized as well. You know, the
Asian
suave,
fever.
Yeah, the suave hypersexualized Latin man and the cooey boiling hot Latina.
Word.
You know, we put these people into these sexualized boxes because they can serve a purpose with the powers that be. You know, there are people that love Asian women and they don't like Asian men. You know, which is just like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, you know, people they sexualize Asian women, but then Asian men rarely get that type of play. But you can be the ugliest brother in the room and still somebody's gonna get with you
if you know how to talk.
Well, that's the thing. You gotta know how to talk. But she's right too, that, you know, what is it about Black men sometimes that we unplug ourselves from our potential? We sabotage ourselves. We get in our own way. And I just think it's something that's been, honestly, KK, that's been built into the culture. Like, I remember being a kid, and the first thing I ever wanted to do was I wanted to be a carpenter. I built a shelf, and I was so proud of myself. And then when I brought it home to my family, and the first thing they said was, "Oh, they don't let Black men in the union. You can't be a, you know, you can't be a carpenter." It was just this litany of, you can't be this, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go over here, you can't go over there, you can't. And it just starts to really build up with you and inside of you. And I had a tough time with it, especially at different stages of my development. And then when I was in college, realizing, getting out of college, there wasn't anything for me, and that this was a struggle. And even though I was educated, I still had no more value in the world. I started losing it. You know, I became a very upset late teen, early 20-something person, that I had deteriorated to the point where I was hanging out with the wrong people. You know, and then I finally got it together because I went off on my own. You know, I did my own thing. You know, I've known Quay long enough that I met Quay in his journey of him doing his own thing. And that's where you see Black men, where they kind of start to get it together a little bit more, and they start to have real confidence and real accountability and their own sense of emancipating themselves from their own suffrage, because the society's not going to do it for them. And I think that's one of the reasons why these guys just kind of cave in on themselves, because not everybody has the ability to go do it on their own, and they don't get the same level of help. It's like George Floyd shouldn't be dead. Word. You know, but because he needed help. And instead of the cops helping him, they're like, okay, we're just going to put this guy's lights out.
Word.
That's the world that we're constantly in. What keeps me and Quay and Cheese from getting killed by the cops is that we have a certain amount of autonomy with ourselves, you know, and that we can maintain a certain amount of control, and we don't look like we are at desperate's end. And so the cops intuitively, instinctually will leave us alone. Versus other dudes, they'll blow them away sitting in the car, you know, or they'll shoot them in the back walking away. I mean, it's crazy. And it's consistent. Go ahead. It's that person that's
going back to the comments. DJ MJ Beats chimed in and said, sometimes it's from the lack of fathers. Is that we have to find out a lot of the stuff, like how to be confident, how to do these things. You gotta learn on your own, because your dad wasn't there to teach you.
But it's also that the dads sometimes are there, but the dads don't even know how. Like I've had this argument throughout my entire life in my family construct, where the argument is stop asking. They don't know how. They don't know what they don't know what to say to you. I've had legions of Black men in my family. They don't know what to say to me. They don't know how to give me any advice. They don't know how to approach me. They literally physically don't have the information. They don't know. And you've got to go find it other places. And honestly, I started to really grow up when I found relationships with other ethnic men from other cultural groups. It was Asian men, like for real. A lot of this is assembled through Asian men and Latin men and Black men. They're way older than me, you know.
I was in a scenario where I wished it played out different. Rest in peace to this one guy I used to live with back when I lived in Virginia. His name is Bronson. Really nice guy, nice enough that when my mom moved to South Carolina, my sister and I moved with her, but we didn't like it there, so we wanted to move back. So he allowed me to stay at his house when I moved back, and I worked with him on the DJ circuit, and he did a plethora of different things in different businesses, but it was never, let me teach you how this business works. He owned a grocery store. He owned real estate on top of, DJing. And he worked for the county driving buses so that he could have health insurance and stuff like that. But it was never, hey, younger, African-American male, let me teach you the ropes so that you know how to play this game. It was more, this is mine over here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you can take these little things over here and you can come and help me do this, but I'm not going to tell you how this works. And and I think that's psychological also, that you wouldn't volunteer that information, because a lot of communities, you see them volunteering the younger that information. Right. Oh, you put your hand up, okay? Yes.
What I noticed from what you're saying about the male who was your influence, who didn't necessarily teach your way. What I've experienced from my, experience from upper generation is when they didn't know and they had somebody who actually took them on. And my mom is an example that I'm using right now. She watched and learned. She was next to them and she looked to see what they were doing, to learn exactly what they were doing. That's how she got into that. Not necessarily them teaching her how things are done, but her watching and observing and seeing what is being done and utilizing it for herself to do her business. So by you just having to been around this male, some of those things would have been influenced to you. Like they say, if you have a father who is a doctor, a mother who's a nurse, children probably will become at least a nurse, because that's what will be talked about at home. That is the influence that they have. So that is what they are grown up with. So later on, if they become a nurse or a doctor, it's not a surprise that it happens. So if you're around it, it's not necessarily taught to you, because we're around our kids all the time. We don't necessarily teach our children everything, but we do know that they do take from how we are, our influence. Later on, they'll see that, oh my God, this is what my mom, this is how my dad did. And I do that myself now. It's like, oh, I'm saying what my mom had taught me. So I wonder if it has to be taught to be learned, or if you really want to, you would just grasp you would learn.
I think it might be a balance of the two, because all the surface level things that he showed me, that stuff I retain. How to hang drywall, how to put in a toilet, how to set up the equipment for the DJ gig. Like all the surface level things that I can see, that's the stuff that I learned. But when it was time to get paid from the club, I got sent to the car. I couldn't sit in there with him and the club owner while they were negotiating the pay and stuff like that. When the contractors came to his store, I couldn't be in the room when they're talking about, the orders and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about, I wish I got to learn more behind the scenes of how to negotiate a deal. But that kind of stuff he kept secret. So yes, the stuff that I could see him do, I did learn those things and I'm appreciative. But the things that I wish I could learn on the back end, like, negotiating deals, I wish I got to sit in the room. I think it's very important to be able to sit in the room and hear how much money you're supposed to be getting,
Right.
instead of being left out on your own. Like, how much am I supposed to make?
Okay, we've been crippled. We as a people, specifically Black men, have only gotten on our feet in the back half of the 20th century. Let's be real with this, where we've had any level of opportunity to do anything in America other than day labor, going to jail, or being lynched. That's the reality of this. So you get to be the first generation that gets to pass that on to your children, that you will have your children in the room. You will teach your children the art of the deal and all this other stuff. You know, we're just late. It's delay. It's cultural delay. Because we have been in apartheid, we are playing catch up to the system, and the system wants to keep us playing catch up. That's why they all jumped through the windows at the Capitol building. They're like, no, we can't have these people in the room with us, a seat at the table or whatever. We got to keep it the way that it is. This is the problem. This is the challenge. And there's just so much. And I think KK really speaks to this at times on a subtextual level. We have to let go. You know, we're not going to fix everything. And there's certain things that we have to let go. It's very holistic. It's very Eastern. It's very Zen. It's like, let it go and elevate and move and move on. Because what you're saying, Quay, I get it. I grew up, my father is in the music business and I grew up around it. And yes, he never brought me to the table when it was time to make the deals. And I had to learn all of that on my own. And it was such a bumpy road. I used to be so jealous of the white kids whose dads taught them everything. I didn't have that. And I would go to my mom and I would be crying and I'd be like, oh, and she would say, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
India. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. And it's just, that's such an unacceptable answer for a child that it took me to adulthood to really get it. And it took me deeper into adulthood to understand it and then move on to this phase of forgiveness and letting it go. We're saddled with so much crap, and KK can speak to this again with Black men. When you get to know one and you get close to them, you're like, oh my God, this person's like so beat up and so hurt, and all these things have happened to them. And they've got all this baggage, and there's all these things that you've got to unpack for them all the time. You know, I love this person, but damn, it becomes overwhelming. I mean, one of the things I'm always trying to be conscious of as a Black man is to not be an emotional hindrance as much as possible to the other people around me, because I'm always going through some stuff. Things happen to me all the time. Like I walk into work, like, I get stopped by the cops. I'm like, oh man, I feel bad today, but don't bring it into work. Don't start talking about, how miserable or how hard your life is, or you still got to be, you're constantly trying to figure out how to move forward and not open up all of these issues all the time. So you don't seem embattled and bitter, so you can enjoy.
Let's take it to the comments real quick. First of all, hey, Sam, he wanted to wish his sister a happy birthday. Do you see the comments on there, KK? Do you see the comments, KK? Oh, well, Sam is wishing you a happy birthday.
Hey, my brother, I love you.
DJ Dre said, the downside is that there's a lot of times where we try to teach, but the young ones don't want to learn. All they want is immediate gratification, not taking the time to actually learn and absorb anything. That's a good word, DJ Dre.
Right.
I think a lot of that too is about conditioning, about how that child grows. Because if you're teaching them when they're 0, then when they get to 15, they're not annoyed with you. But I think if you try to just start teaching them when they're 15, then it's like, well, I might want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's all conditioning from how that child is raised. Nicole Duncan says, we have to let it go, but yet still forge forward. We have to be elevated to such a level that we are responsible for our healing and growth at the same time. I don't know why I did do that. Then we can see it all together. Turn up. So thank you, Nicole. That is beautiful. Absolutely true. And there you go, KK from Sam. He said he loves you too.
Thank you.
For those that don't know, just chimed in. It's KK's birthday today. If y'all want to flood the comments real quick with some happy birthdays to KK, turn all the way up. Shakalaka, hey Shakalaka. Chocolate. It's a microwave generation. We want it now.
Right.
That is true too, and it's everybody's being conditioned too to want and get everything right in the moment. So if you have to be patient and wait for something, it drives people crazy.
Exactly. So the $25,000 question is that can you afford, as a person of color or a person from a diverse community, to be a part of the microwavable generation? Is that your lane? We have a tendency, but you're gonna pay the cost. It's if you want to be a microwavable person of color or a diverse person, that has a different outcome than the person who is patient and the person who, as Nicole had said, wants to grow and heal. You got to decide that. But people, Kanye picked the microwavable lane, and look where it got him. You have to make these. It's not fair. It's not right, but it is what it is. As a woman, as a person of color, as someone that comes from these other disenfranchised communities, you have to make different decisions from what you see in the masses and the general market and the homogenized people that get everything. You're not them. You can't be them. You got to choose and pick your own path. You've got to stand up and move away. It's like Moses could have kept hanging out with the Egyptians, but he's like, nah, I'm a Jew and I'm here to lead the Jews out of Egypt. So I got to go do my thing. Are you ready to do your thing? Are you ready to walk 40 years in the desert to figure it out? Are you ready to do the time? Are you ready to pay the cost to be the boss? Like you got to decide, people just live in fear. They're so polarized. They're microwavable because they're afraid to do it on their own, And
one person that we just that just transitioned off this planet that was a guaranteed fighter and has been fighting for us for a long time, Miss Cicely Tyson, who passed away yesterday at the age of 96. Incredible woman. There's so much that I still need to learn about her because I guess I got the game kind of late with her. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the films and things that she's in, I didn't really see the like Sounder. I've never seen that. The autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. I've never seen that. Like I didn't even know about those movies.
We're done. I'm gonna turn my feed off. I don't want to. I literally don't want to talk to you anymore. Like I'm in the film world. I'm offended.
I'm not even in the film world.
She was also a film star in the 1950s. She was once a hottie. She's been making films. She's been making films forever.
Yes.
I mean, she was married to Miles Davis. Like, where have you been? Yes.
I didn't follow Cicely Tyson. I
wasn't
on the train. I just. But by the time that I came around,
who are you following?
By the time I came around, she was the old lady in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
DJ MJP said the same thing. He said the same thing. I'm behind the curtain. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to learn.
It's true. Okay, so on my Facebook page, I put up a tribute to her. I put up only pictures of her as a young, beautiful woman because I wanted people to see that and understand that. For bozos like you and your boy who are like, oh, she's an old woman. That's all I know. No, she's not. Do you want only those pictures to be up when you die? The ones where you're old? Is that what you want? Okay.
No, all I'm saying is by the time that I came into the picture, she was already an older lady playing in those movies. And I didn't have a desire to go and do research on this older lady who was in the movies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to discredit anything about her. No, of course. She's beautiful. She's beautiful. But I just learned today. Which is good because now I have a whole litany of stuff that I can get into. I have, I'm saying, what is this? The Oldest Living Confederate Widow Tells All. I can watch that. I did see Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I did see that one. Turn up.
But that's still like new though. He talking about her own stuff.
Did you see the old stuff, Cheese?
A lot of it I have, and I know that she fought a lot of she fought for us, as equal rights and things like that. She did a lot of things. She was a beautiful lady, and she, like I was telling you before we were on air, that she's one of the people who got your boy Miles Davis off of drugs. So she was dope, man.
All right, so there's a movie from 1956 that she's in. It's on tomorrowpictures.tv. You can go watch it on tomorrowpictures.tv. She did a film with Ethel Waters, who's one of the greatest jazz singers. Okay, in 1956, okay, she's amazing. The problem is that we live in a system that doesn't respect that or honor that. Back to what KK was saying. Sitting around being worried about what's on a $20 bill in a system that doesn't give a shit about you is not where the focus should be.
Word.
You know, that we should, Cecily Tyson is as great as Betty Davis. Period. Word. We live in a culture that constantly says that these people of not only African descent, Asian descent, Latin descent, it's like Ricardo Montalban was a great actor. We don't honor these people, and we only portray them all the time as old because that's the safe zone. That's when we're comfortable with them. They're dead or they're old or they're babies. And anything in between, we're not interested in because we don't want those people to influence this weird geopolitical Anglo false universe of killing the Indians that we've created in America, that we're in denial about what this is really all about.
Word.
And that's it. And she plays into that same conversation. That's what makes this so frustrating. I never wanted, I was devastated when she passed away yesterday. She was one of those people in my top 5 list. I don't ever want to die.
I mean, 96 years, give her a break.
I know, but didn't you want to meet her? I wanted to meet her. I wanted to hang out with her. I wanted to have tea with her. You know, there's all of these Black people that I have loved my whole life that are dying off in front of me. Hank Aaron was another one.
Hank Aaron, I was going to bring
you know,
next.
Like I don't want everybody to be dead by the time I'm in a position that I can meet them. Right. All my heroes are always just going away. You know, there is a certain level of privilege, I hate to say it this way, that white people get that other people of color just don't get. And when Cecily Tyson dies and Hank Aaron dies, it reminds you of it. Hank Aaron played in the Negro leagues before he played in the major leagues. That's insane.
Hank Aaron broke the record of the biggest home run hitter of all times, and they hated him for that.
Right.
Hated him. Thousands of hate letters.
To murder that man for a sport because he
broke a record. Broke a record.
Man.
Exactly. And he did it the right way with hard work and diligence and commitment. You know, and even when you do it the right way, that doesn't mean that people are still going to say you're okay. So even if you are on a $20 bill, that doesn't still make people say that you're okay.
Word.
You have to know you're okay. You have to do it your damn self. You know, there's a quote on my my Facebook page right now from Miss Cecily Tyson as well. And it says, the moment anyone tries to demean or degrade you in any way, you have to know how great you are. Nobody would bother to beat you down if you were not a threat. That is a quote from Cecily Tyson today on my Facebook page. Go look at it, everybody. You can read it. All that. Yeah. So she's saying, like, you can't sit around and wait for everybody to tell you you're okay. And if they have a problem with you, know this, they're just scared of you.
Word.
And Cecily Tyson was as Black as Wesley Snipes trying to be a woman in the 1950s in Hollywood. That's unimaginable. I can't wrap my mind around that. So whatever we're going through pales in comparison to that. She blazed the trail for us.
And found success.
And found success and hopefully happiness as well. And she was the only woman that could ever stand up to Miles Davis, which is pretty sad.
That's how you know she put that whoopee doopy on him because he was like, I don't smoke nothing no more. Like,
yeah. Well, the great story is that he actually, one of his last albums, he re-recorded the Michael Jackson song "Human Nature" because Cecily wanted him to.
That's dope.
Isn't that crazy? Because like Miles hated Michael because he thought his music was very simple, and Cecily's like, no, you're gonna re-record "Human Nature" and you're gonna put it on your next album.
Turn up.
That's good. That's good.
That's that bomb nookie. Rest in peace to the legend, Cicely Tyson. We also lost a couple other legends. Also, the guy who made the song "I'm Your Puppet," James, was it Perfy? He also passed away. NBA analyst Sekou Smith. He also passed away. Both of them passed away of COVID.
Yeah, Sekou was from Atlanta. He wrote for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution as well for several years. He's about 45 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a big deal. COVID's real. COVID's very serious.
100% real.
And,
DJ Drake, can you share that track with me? Can you email it? I'd like to have that, please. If you can email that to me. Miles Davis playing Human Nature. I want to hear that.
Oh, you do? It's great.
Yeah, I need that. Please, Drake. DJ Drake says he has it, so I would love to have that. Another legend also, Larry King. Larry King passed away. He was 87 years old. He also, I mean, as a journalist, do you have anything to chime in for Larry King?
He was the first person to create a talk show on cable. You know, he was there in the early days of CNN that turned CNN into a viable network. The thing that I always appreciated about Larry King was his eclectic mix of guests. Whether it was Hank Aaron or Marlon Brando or Richard Nixon or whomever, he was someone that people wanted to talk to. And he was someone who was very relatable in the midst of him being himself as well. Larry King was one of those rare old school journalists that's Larry King. There's Walter Cronkite, there's Dan Rather. There's just specific types of news journalism that is built around the personality of the journalist. And that's really gone away. Like now everybody looks like a supermodel. And I can't tell the difference between any of them. And I don't know, like the closest thing might be Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, but we don't have that personal touch anymore with
who is sorry for KK, you were watching things. Is it Lisa Ling that you were watching?
But she's on CNN.
Oh, that was from a while ago. Life with Lisa Ling.
Yeah.
It seems like she's another one that kind of goes out and tries to, I guess, get to the root of things.
Right. She's an adventurer. She's courageous. We don't have enough courageous news people anymore. We have a lot of news personalities.
Word.
With all due respect to Don Lemon, I enjoy him. He's a very attractive man, by the way, too. But their personalities. They're rock stars. They look like people that should drop an album.
Do you think that's the climate of where we are? Like,
yes.
Do you think society just doesn't want anybody that's going to get to the root of things? And somebody's going to get up there and shake the system. I think it's about time for some system shakers.
Well, yeah, because these systems are bought up by corporate companies. CNN is owned by Time Warner.
Word.
CBS is owned by Viacom. Disney owns ABC. So you have limits. We need more. Edward R. Murrow is another great one that was just thrown into the mix too. Absolutely. We need entities that are separate from the system, that are not co-opted by them, so they can actually have a voice and say what they want to say. And that's
What's
the other
about that. What is that when those seem to come about, then they ended up becoming corporate anyway. So something like Facebook, something like Twitter, something like YouTube had the perfect ability to have the freedom, and now they're like, nope, you can't say that. Nope, you can't say that. As much as people were happy when Donald Trump was taken off of Twitter, that was dangerous. That was very dangerous. Even when they took Farrakhan off, that's dangerous because they're saying, if we don't like what you're saying, you can't say it here. And it's like, what? Well, why not? This is what this is for.
Yeah, but the difference is that they didn't take Trump off until they stormed the Capitol. They took Farrakhan off the minute that he farted.
Word.
That's the difference. Right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I know the difference.
Donald got a riot.
Yeah, Donald should, in the end, should have been taken off. I mean, he got to a point where it was.
I think that's Stanford, absolutely.
Yeah, but Farrakhan's just an unpleasant personality
because he's speaking truth, and they're afraid of it.
The truth. Yeah.
But you know what? It's not the truth. It's how Farrakhan does it. He doesn't know how to deliver a message in a way that is a little bit more comfortable and palatable for his audience. He has a very specific audience, and anything outside of that is very uncomfortable. He's never gotten good at navigating his way through the system. And I think it's one of the things that's held him up from becoming a great orator and for people to pay attention to what he has to say as far as the truth is concerned. He's just got so much vitriol all the time in his voice. There's just so much emotion and so much anger that people tune it out. In America, if you start shouting, people don't care. That's the bottom line, especially if you're ethnic.
I would have to say it makes me think of one of the scenes in One Night in Miami when Malcolm X is speaking with Sam Cooke, and he's basically telling him, like, look, we don't have time party. You know what I'm saying? We got so much work to do. We got so many people getting killed in the streets. Like, we're dying. We're behind enemy lines. We don't have time to party. And I take that as Farrakhan, he's 86, 87 years old. He doesn't have that much time left either. So I need to get this message out. I can't worry about saying it nice if people don't like what I'm saying, if it's coming out nice. And I have to say this now. And it's the message is more important than how, you know, saying, oh, you're yelling at me. Like, no, you need to hear this. This is happening. This is truth. You need to take this truth right now and process it however you need to.
They're not. They block it out, and they'll reread it when he's dead. Like, that's the bottom line.
Word.
You know, they'll put it. He'll be a T-shirt. They'll put it on a shelf. We'll come back to it after he's decomposing. Then they'll say, okay, now I can unpack it. You know, it's sad. It is sad. It's really difficult. It's really tough.
This is America.
Well, this is America. I mean, come on. Prince literally scrawled slave on the side of his face.
And they thought he was crazy for that.
But he wasn't.
But go ahead. Now they get it.
Right. Now.
Like you said.
He did it in 93.
Right.
They get it. They get it now.
Now that would be a dope shirt too. That slave on his face. Yeah.
That would be a dope shirt. I'm not gonna lie about that.
You got to pick and choose what you want to do, and what are the hills that you want to die on in this war as well, and what battles you want to fight, and which ones you just want to walk away from. You know, so if you really want the $20 bill for Harriet Tubman, that's great. I don't know how much you're going to get out of that. Maybe we should fight more for healthcare. But
do you know what I think is happening? And this is my I hate to say conspiracy theory stuff, because usually conspiracy theorists are just speaking truth and people don't want to hear it. But anyway, they don't mind putting Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill because money is about to be out of here. It's about to be digital currency, and that's what it's going to be. So whoever's face is on the cash, it doesn't matter. Especially within the next 5 to 10 years, they're getting rid of cash, and it's all digital. So it doesn't matter.
It's just another attempt to distract Black people from focusing or keeping their eye on the ball about what's really important. You know, it's too late. She should have been on the $20 bill 50 years ago.
Yes,
it's too late. It's like great slave movies like 12 Years a Slave should have been made in the 1960s, starring a young Sidney Poitier. They weren't. Yes. We're so slow. We're so slow. And so do you want to get on that train of making biopic, with all due respect to One Night in Miami? That's shit that happened 60 years ago.
Word.
Okay. Your vibe is like now and the future. You're a futurist. You don't have 60 years to give to this stuff. In the midst of 2020, where they're saying the last 50 years has been wiped away, so you don't exist. They're on the verge of just wiping you out or stricken from the record. And you've got to figure out a way to get through to the other side with all of this stuff as well. So there's just bigger fish to fry that's out there. Like what we're doing today. We're sitting here discussing this, building a consortium, bringing all of these other people into this. Everybody's that's listening to this is going to take something away from it.
Hopefully. DJ Chaos Jones said, he said, just small breadcrumbs in an attempt to appease us and say, see look what we did. Got a black president, we got Tubbs on Dubs, and now Kamala. Come on, see, everything's good.
Absolutely.
And that's why the other day when I was talking to you and JD, they were taking it back at first when I was telling them I'm not a fan of Black History Month. I'm just not. To me, it's another thing that I consider a breadcrumb. They're like, here. We're talking about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks for a whole month, and then whatever. It's like, well, I don't understand why that stuff is not studied all year long like everything else.
That. You're right. You're a person that really holds on to truth with two hands. I'm a person that says, hey, the door's cracked open, stick your foot in it. And keep that door open, and then let's keep it moving. Because the bottom line is that you still have to utilize Black History Month as a window of opportunity to launch any of this countercultural stuff that you've got going on in your head. You know, that's a great window.
I play along.
You gotta play along. Like Sojourner Truth, she says, you know, I sell the shadow in order to support the substance.
Turn up.
Right. Sell the shadow. It's not real. It doesn't matter. You can just pretend like you like Black History Month. I hate Black History Month. I've always questioned it. I always thought it was weird. Whatever. But the point is that it's an opportunity to get people to understand what you're about. And I realized that when I was in high school, that during Black History Month, I got to read my essay about slavery to an entire classroom full of white kids. That's what Black History Month got me growing up as a kid.
Word.
And that's a window of opportunity. You know, I hope we get Asian History Month. I hope we get Latin History Month. I hope we get LGBTQ History Month.
That would be fair.
That would be fair.
That would be fair if we're going to be singling people out.
Or turn Black History Month into People of Color Month. You know, maybe you should buy the NAACP for the National Advancement of Color People and turn it into Everybody for Color. You know, the colors of the world. Like
the whole melanation.
You've got to be radicalized in the face of what's going on right now, but be under control. Don't be a loon and go through the Capitol building. Don't spit hate. But have solutions. Radicalized solutions.
I like that. Have solutions. And one thing I want to try. I called my brother this week, and I was like, man, I need some questions, some trivia questions to test people's knowledge of the culture. So I'm like, man, Fred is super intelligent. He probably knows all things African American. So, Mr. Freddie, since you are our first guest on the Unique and Cheese Show, first of all, thank you so much for being our first guest on the Unique and Cheese Show in this capacity, in this format. Thank you. Good having you. We're going to do something called Are You Invited to the Cookout? Do you know the show Black Card Revoked? Or have you ever seen the card game Black Card Revoked?
No.
Well, this is similar to that. This is
Black Card. I can piece it together in my mind what this is. It feels like a setup. It feels like a mob.
Not a setup. It's not a setup. It's just a few.
I'm going for a ride for a cannoli.
It's a few trivia questions trying to see if you would be invited to the cookout. Okay. This is going to be DJ MJ Beats. I'll play one of his beats while we do this. That's not a DJ MJ beat. There we go.
I want to see if I'm invited to the cookout.
Oh, DJ MJ Beats be making, man, that's my bro.
Man, that's pretty dope. Here we
go. Question number 1. Freddie, are you invited to the cookout? Here it is. Loving versus Virginia was the Supreme Court case to end the ban on interracial marriage. What was the last state to formally overturn prohibiting interracial marriage in the year 2000?
Well, it first happened in 1966. I do know that. And I'm going to say the last state to overturn it was Alabama.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Freddie. He got the first answer right. Turn all the way up.
Good job.
All right, here we go. Second question. Freddie, are you invited to the cookout? Who is credited as America's first Black female self-made millionaire?
I know this because there was a movie made about her, and everything. She was from Los Angeles. I could just beat myself for this one because I can visualize it, but I can't place her
Hair.
name.
I'll give you a hint. Hair.
Yeah, she made a lot of money in California. I know the story. I just can't remember her.
Okay, when old people can't travel by themselves, they have to use a what?
Oh, a walker. Oh,
that's her last name.
That's the last name, but it's not Alice Walker because that's a writer. So,
Shakalaka got it for you. It's Madam C.J. Walker.
Madam C.J. Walker. Yeah.
Madam C.J.
Yeah, because there's a Netflix original film about it.
It's okay. It's okay. You got one. You missed one. You tied right now. You're tied right now.
Octavia Spencer played her.
I love Octavia Spencer.
Yeah, she plays. She is. I want to see her play something modern though. Like that horror movie where she plays the crazy lady. I
didn't like the ending. I was like, this is how we gonna end like this? Like, this was random. I don't know. I didn't hate it though, but I didn't love it either.
I get excited about Octavia playing things outside of the box. It was very weird.
Here we go. Question number 3. Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowPictures.tv. Are you invited to the cookout? Who is the first Black woman to be elected to Congress, as well as the first Black person to run for the office of president from a majority party?
Shirley Chisholm.
Shirley Chisholm, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowPictures.tv. He got it right. It was Shirley Chisholm. We're going to do 5 of these. So right now you're 2 for 1. 2 and 1.
I'm so mad about the CJ Walker one. I'm pissed.
It's okay. You know a lot. You're not required to know it all, so it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
I was going to say Martina Luther King.
Martina Luther King. Turn up. All right, here we go. Number 4. Fredrick Taylor. Are you invited to the cookout? Who was the first African American to win an Olympic gold medal?
Rayford Johnson. No, wait, no, it wasn't. No. Olympic gold medal. Jesse Owens? No.
That is incorrect. The first African American to win an Olympic gold. Does anybody in the comments? Does anybody in comments? No, it's not Jesse Owens. Who is the first African American to win an Olympic gold medal?
Jesse Owens would have been my guess.
Yeah, 36. And then Rayford Johnson won in the 1960. But I don't know who won before 36. I have no idea who won before 36.
It was the winner of the 1600-meter relay, Mr. John Baxter Taylor.
Now
that might be related.
I know.
That might be related. Who knows?
Thanks. All right.
It's okay. It's okay. 2 and 2. 2 and 2 now. Here we go. Final question to find out if Fredrick Taylor of TomorrowPictures.tv will be invited to the cookout. Here we go. What classic cartoon character was based off African-American performer Esther Jones, a.k.a. Baby Esther?
Betty Boop.
Betty Boop. Congratulations, Fredrick Taylor. You are invited to the cookout. Y'all, please give Fredrick Taylor a round of applause. Thank you so much, Fredrick Taylor.
Yeah.
That was awesome. My brother went crazy on this one, too. I just, Ed, could you give me a couple of questions? He sent me like 50. I'm like, turn up. He was having fun with that one.
But this is the point because it's never taught in school. It's not a part of the lexicon of our culture or society, and no one has conversations about it. So if you don't go get the knowledge yourself, you don't have the knowledge. So knowledge.
If they're gonna have a Black History Month, then do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't make it about Martin Luther King and like 8 other people. I mean, do it. But is it American Black History Month, or you want to go real and tell me about where were we before we came to America? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to teach us, or are you going to teach us? So
yeah, well, people get nervous about all that.
I know they do. They hate the truth.
They want to fit in. I don't think it's not they hate the truth. If the truth isn't a part of the party, they want the party more than they want the truth. They'd rather go to the party than have the truth.
Yes,
that's unfortunate.
It is. It's really sad. You know, it's like we're all. Go ahead.
It's unfortunate, but most people choose to be on the easier end. They don't choose to work to make things work. You know, most people like to party and relax and just enjoy.
True that.
That's
Right.
I have 2 wash your ass, brush your teeth this week. They both have videos, but I don't know if I want to show the videos. I hope you guys have already seen these videos or know the stories. The first wash your ass, brush your teeth is coming out of Tacoma, Washington with the police officer that ran over the protesters. Did you guys see that video?
Yes.
Cheese, KK, did y'all see that video?
Which one is it?
The one with, in Tacoma, Washington, where the police officer drove over the protesters?
No, I don't think I saw that.
The police officer is under investigation by an independent police review body after the officer drove an SUV through a crowd.
It's terrible.
They're like protesting in the street, and they have his vehicle surrounded in other cars. They're all in the road. It's all in order. You know what I'm saying? They're not protesting the right way. But I guess he got frustrated and fed up with them being around his car. And I mean, like it had been 20 people around that thing, and he just and drove right through it. Nobody died. Nobody died, but it was literally like boom, 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 like, you know what I'm saying, driving over top of human beings. So I think one of the things when people be like, defund the police and the police, blah, 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 blah. I think they forget sometimes that police officers are human beings. They make human beings decisions. And if you're put in a position that you can damage people, I don't think you should be short-tempered. I don't think you should be mild-mannered. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should have psychological damage, because you are psychologically damaged if you run over people that pay your bills. At the end of the day, those people pay your bills. You are a servant of the people. And to think that you're above them and to just drive over top of them, oh my gosh, Mr. Tacoma police officer, you need to wash your ass and brush your teeth. You can't do that. That's not nice. Also, the other wash your ass and brush your teeth this week goes to those. I don't even know if they're human beings. Those guys that attacked the lady in Harlem at the convenience store.
That was terrible.
I didn't want to show that video either. That's too much. Did you see the video, Fred?
I did.
Have you seen the video, KK?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So in the comments, did you guys see the video of the lady?
When I saw that video.
Yeah, you should provide the links to people to go watch it later.
Word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to show
when
it
I saw that. Yeah, when I saw that video, first thing I thought of was, God, I wish they would get rid of the participation awards. Everybody does not get to play. I mean, you don't tell your children no. I mean, I see it so often while I was raising kids, while volunteering, just being out there at the grocery store, whatever it is, the child throws a temper, it's a no to start, and eventually becomes a yes because the parent cannot parent and loses to a child who is just throwing a tantrum for the time being. If they were told no at that point in time and know the consequences and have to work for that reward, maybe when somebody says no, you won't have to be killed. You won't have to be harassed. You won't have to be gone in the middle of the alley. And, you know, really, I mean, I condone the city programs, but everybody should not win. Everybody should not get the trophies. You know, you have to work for, and you don't get told no from the beginning. That's the adult you raise. They have,
heck yeah.
They don't
I
know.
to applaud that. I agree with that 100%.
When I saw that video,
that's
just
terrible.
Say no to your kids and discipline.
And when I saw the video, I just thought about the lack of accountability within the system of filtering potential police officers. Like, I don't even understand how that person ended up being a police officer. I don't understand how
they got women in Harlem now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. But I understand what you're saying about that. We're talking about
both of those things mesh together for me. Like when I watched both videos, and what it was that she was talking about people being, if you're not ever told no for anything, you're capable of anything. And so I was thinking about that cop that ran over those people, in my mind, is equivalent to those people that assaulted the woman in Harlem. It's all this. It's all the same cultural discourse that we have a problem with.
It really
I.e.,
is.
raising our children. We have these adults that are just morons, you know. And
They're
I wish
just morons.
I wish Harriet Tubman was around. She could just go around and regulate for us.
She'd be like, "Don't y'all be hitting." Anyway, and it also goes to, I think, the cancel culture. Also, I think the cancel culture are also people who were never told no. You know what I'm saying? Like, that goes part of the participation thing. I think that's why people be like, I don't like that, so you need to cancel that because I don't like that. Once again, goes back to what KK is saying. Yeah, because that person was never told no. You were never told go sit down. You were never told you can't have that. It's okay to not have something. It's okay to be offended. It's okay to hear things that you don't like. You process it and then you move on. But to be like that needs to be removed from planet Earth because I don't like it. Ah, come on, cuz. It don't work.
I truly feel phases in life is really important for people to go through. When you're a teenager, go through your adolescent period. When you're, toddler, go through your learning period of being a toddler. When you're a young adult, go through the young adult's issues. For someone to come and just relieve you of all these pain of growth, I guess that's why they call it growing pain. Parents, a lot of parents like to do that. They like to relieve their kids of growing pains. That's just damaging because if you don't experience things at a young age, you're grown up and you're by yourself and you still need to be taking care of somebody, but there's nobody. So now, where are we?
Well, why do parents try to relieve their children of their pain? Why do they do it? Why can't they just tell their kids no?
I think because maybe it's something that they
because of their lack, what they were missing when they were children.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be something that's being perpetuated by this dysfunctional system that we exist in, as far as opportunity and reward is concerned as well. So it could be something greater societal. You know, if we had more equality in society, then we could parent our children better.
I say true that. Shaka, like I said, I tell people let your baby lick the floor or whatever because they turn into adults who become a menace. Yes, that's right, Shaka Laka, turn up.
Yeah, but
with us being in an internet, with the technology world, it's absolutely ridiculous. We don't have to associate with others. We're on video games.
Right. We don't here's the interesting thing with this is this is a lot of discourse with a lot of people of color right now about how to raise your children in society. It would be interesting to get some white people of privilege in the mix to see how they feel about that. I'm curious because I don't want to speak for them, because I do think distinctively there is a way that people of color raise their children that is different from how many white people raise their children. Like I watched white kids curse at their parents when I was a kid, and I to this day, I was afraid of my grandmother until she passed. Like I never thought to ever raise my voice or act crazy and stuff like that. But there is a certain latitude that they have sometimes within their culture and how they relate that's different from Black people. Like I grew up, I got spankings. We got
ISV too.
Well, yeah, but then with white people, that doesn't happen. That's not considered anything that you're supposed to do,
But there's more conversations going on. They're talking to each other. Even I noticed that I'm not really talking to my children. I'm not really being an example to my children as to what I teach them, as to how, things are supposed to be. And I notice a lot of times it's the actions, it's my examples that is what is being sought after, not necessarily what is being told to them. Hey, that's not right. This is not. Why? Because I've experienced it, but still, you're still doing it that way. You're still doing it the wrong way according to what you're teaching me. So it's got to be confusing to the children.
Sure.
But isn't that the path that they still have to work through to try this, get it wrong? Okay, mommy was right. Oh, okay, so-and-so was right. Oh, that's not to be done because I've learned. But those phases are so important. And why? Yeah, I know. Can I tell you honestly, as an Asian person in this American culture, that whether I like it or not, subconsciously, I do look at the other people, yeah, how white people are, how Mexicans are, how Black people are, and I don't want my children to be associated with, I want my children to be more like that. So I think even my behavior changes when I'm around this person. Like when I'm talking to a principal at school, I'm a very professional, straightforward, hey, this is the way it is. And when I'm at a volunteer job, I'm very, likable because, hey, I need these people to volunteer with me, work with me, but at the same time, very strict because, hey, you're not getting your job done. My idea is get the work done and then play. But so many people like to play while the work isn't done.
Or play during while the work's
understand.
Because they're not really into work. Because they are socialization and pleasure trump work. They're not interested in work. Whatever they can do to get out of work, whatever they can do to sidestep it, whatever they can do to punt on it or push it down the pike or pass it off on someone else or sweep it under the rug, they're good with that. And they don't have any emotional connection to that whatsoever. They never feel guilty. It's not a big deal to them. Someone else will take care of it.
There was a time when that wasn't an issue, when people actually did do their job. So how did this change occur, do you think? Like, is there a time period that we can pinpoint to that says, oh my God, everybody just dropped the ball?
The internet, when things became a lot more accessible and automated, and things got easier as far as accessibility to information and knowledge. I mean, when we were growing up, we had inklings of it. It was like, oh, don't read the book, read the Cliff Notes. There were certain things we could get away with, but there was still a certain amount of work that we had to do. But now you can get away and skate and never work. You can just hustle. There's this 22-year-old that was hustling vaccine shot. He started an organization to get people signed up for vaccinations. And then he took the vaccinations and he gave them to his friends. And then there was this other kid that was hustling a Kroger in Georgia for an insane amount of money on getting returns from people returning things. And then he was just taking the money. And he had amassed close to $1 million before they caught him. So they take the easy route. They, easy money, easy route.
Is that really easy?
But no, it's not. But you're smart enough to know that because you don't live in the moment. They live in the moment. They're the moment.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like that is so much work for that person to be doing, and yet they can't actually just do the easy work to get it the right way. Now you have to face penalties, prison. I mean,
they got to take themselves.
You have to utilize your brain.
They don't want to utilize their brain. They care about their looks. They are the selfie generation. They're surface. They're just aware of their appearance. So many people now care more about what you're wearing and what you look like than who you are as a person or your character or your level of hard work. I mean, people around me watch me work and bust my ass, and they just watch me work and bust my ass. They're not even trying to help me.
Help with it.
Exactly. And then they're just hanging on and then taking credit for whatever I'm doing. I make films and they run around and they'll tell people, oh yeah, I'm working on that film with Fred. And I'm like, you haven't done anything.
This is the perfect segue, Freddie. This is a perfect segue. I'm glad you said that. We got about like 8 minutes left before we get out of here. I want to show Fred's sizzle reel so I can show you what he's been working on. Be sure to follow him, and also be sure to go to tomorrowpictures.tv. If they go to tomorrowpictures.tv, is it a place that they can register and all that and get updates when things are happening?
Yeah, they can get in the newsletter cycle. Absolutely.
So this is what I'm going to do. I hope this video works smoothly for everyone, because I'm going to play first sizzle reel, and then we're going to come back and we're going to say our goodbyes. It's the Unique and Cheese Show. Hold on. Put this up there. Let me stop this beat real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Big shout out to DJ MJ Beats providing the music. All righty. I hope this works. This better work.
This is Tomorrow Pictures.
It's another version of
This is Tomorrow Pictures.
Hi, my name is Fredrick Taylor, and
life has become better. Yes.
This is Tomorrow Pictures, where the story is in the telling.
So I had to start off from the top.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't change that station while we pause for a brief commercial break.
This is Tomorrow Pictures.
People always ask me, what is next? What's the next thing you're going to be able to do? What's the next exciting world that's out there for Tomorrow Pictures? And surprisingly enough, it's actually this.
Because science clearly points to every fact that it is.
But if you look at the data, you'll see that vaccines work.
And you don't fight the science guy.
And this is the world of content-based programming that everybody talks about. And one of the things you really want to remember is, like, this is the future of where you're going to find your content, and this is the future of where you're going to entertain yourself. We're committed to being able to create content that is global content, that is diverse content, that is gender-balanced content.
In a vaccination campaign in my own country, Brazil.
Ooh, I know that beat.
That is not only in the United States, but it's actually all over the world.
C'est extrêmement difficile. Il est important de ne pas s'arrêter maintenant.
It's getting better day and day.
We all know that injustice has to be addressed.
Education! Education is the greatest equalizer.
India has an eclectic community that is surrounded by another superpower. That would be China.
Baby, I know it's been hard, okay?
I am a fighter. I'm a boxer.
I'm a champion. We all have our civil rights, and no one is better than any other person.
I mean, you can be racist against someone else and do something to them. Or you can be racist literally against yourself and do things to yourself.
And we successfully said no to discrimination because that's not who we are as a diverse community. Yo, what up? It's your boy Akon.
You know, we do need to be a bit more collaborative because we do have a voice.
Racism is always going to be there. Being Americans, we have to stick together to protect our countries.
Are you excited about the Oscar?
I'm Bernie Sanders. Well, not really, but I look like Bernie Sanders.
So things are changing. Yeah. Things are evolving.
I admit I might have been speeding a little bit, but that copper made an illegal stop.
What? Not a girl. The story is in the telling, and tomorrow is today.
The innocent people that just want to feel a bit safer as they're walking down the streets.
He suddenly put up his hands and said, "Oh, you're not going to do that to me."
No, that's not. We got to keep it clean for the cameras.
Then all millions of little pieces all fall in place.
Because no longer are we a society that lives within our tribal borders. We're a society that lives within the greater world, and we're all very mobile.
We don't have a democracy.
We do not.
We do not have a democracy.
No.
And that's a shame. We don't have is because only about 50% of the voting population ever bothers.
We have mail-in ballots.
Tomorrow is today.
Sorry, Donald, if you ever see this, nothing personal.
I'm Fredrick Taylor, and this is the future of what you'll be watching.
We're gonna blow the house down to the county of my stars.
110%. I want to be a curator in that space that is creating content that is even better than what's already there.
Then the world would be such a better place.
The world has seen an inventor's dream.
And when I'm online, I watch Tomorrow Pictures.tv. Right, you gotta do it.
Tomorrow Pictures is a production. The story is in the telling.
Turn it up. Round of applause for Fredrick Taylor at TomorrowPictures.tv. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being a guest on our show today. Anything you want to let the people know where to find you, your Instagrams, your websites, everything, just let people know.
Well, everything is everything with the name that they're seeing in the lower left-hand corner there, FR3DER1CK. If you put that into the Google machine, you'll get me. I'm the #1 Fredrick on Google. And that'll give you everything. And also that Fredrick is also Fredrick.com. That'll give you everything as far as my artist site is concerned. And then my business sites are tomorrowpictures.tv and tomorrowpictures.com is as well. And you can continue to learn more. And I'm always happy to collaborate, talk, exchange, discuss, help to consult, unpack things as well. One of the things I'm really excited about now is helping other people facilitate their particular goals and objectives as it pertains to positively charged content. So if you're into positively charged content, holla at your boy. But if you're on the negative tip, go someplace else.
Right. Cheese, want to say anything before you get out of here?
Love, peace, and happiness. And thank you, Fred.
It's a pleasure. I love being around you. I think you just have the most amazing energy as well.
Birthday girl, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yes, I wanted to say thank you, Freddie, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. This is a man I know I've told you, theUnieQ, in the past that I really want to have a one-on-one conversation with to pick his brain. Not necessarily at a professional level, but just, at a personal level. I think you're a really intelligent man who is well-traveled, well-educated, well-experienced. I do want to pick your brain and, I don't know, maybe help myself. But I do want to thank you, and I want everybody to please stay safe by continuing to wearing your masks. Please, let's help everybody out. Help yourselves out. Thank you, everybody, for birthdays. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. And KK, as always, you are the mother of the year every year. You've got fantastic children. You really do.
Turn up. Well, that has been the Unique and Cheese Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Big shout out to DJ MJ Beats for providing some of these tracks, and also the questions for are you invited to the cookout? You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thanks for everybody in the chat. We do appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to, invite a couple friends. Only good positive people do. You know what I'm saying? Invite them over to the party and let's keep this thing going. See you guys next Friday. You can catch playback of this on YouTube, on Facebook, and at djunique.com. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Turn all the way up. Hey.
Thank you. Bye, Cheese. Bye, Unique. Bye, Fred.
Bye. Happy birthday, KK.
Happy birthday, KK.
Thank
You're the
you,
best.
Cheese.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Big money. See you quick.
Why everybody always talk after I be like, okay, that's it? They be like, and they keep talking.
I know, but it's funny that way. It sounds like a TV show.
I guess.
It does.
Bye, you guys.
Oh my God.